In the fall of 2003, a 19-year-old Harvard sophomore named Mark Zuckerberg sat alone in his dorm room in Kirkland House. The son of a dentist and a psychiatrist from Dobbs Ferry, New York, Zuckerberg had already demonstrated both technical brilliance and ethical ambiguity. That October, fueled by alcohol and rejection after being dumped by his girlfriend, Zuckerberg hacked into Harvard's secure networks to steal photos of female students. He created a website called FaceMash that allowed users to compare two female students side by side and vote on who was more attractive. The site went viral overnight, attracting 22,000 votes from 450 visitors before Harvard administrators shut it down. Zuckerberg faced academic probation and charges of breaching security, violating copyrights, and violating individual privacy. But this controversy was merely a prelude. In January 2004, Zuckerberg was approached by three Harvard seniors, twins Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, and their business partner, Divya Narendra. They hired Zuckerberg to build a social networking site called Harvard Connection, later renamed ConnectU. Zuckerberg agreed, but secretly began working on his own competing project. On February 4, 2004, Zuckerberg launched the Facebook from his dorm room, alongside co-founders Eduardo Savarine, who provided crucial seed funding of $15,000, Andrew McCollum, who designed the original logo, Dustin Moskovitz, who helped build the site, and Chris Hughes, who became the company's spokesperson. Within 24 hours, over 1,200 Harvard students had signed up. Within a month, more than half of Harvard's undergraduates were users. The platform quickly expanded to other Ivy League schools, then to most universities in the United States and Canada. By December 2004, the Facebook had reached 1 million active users. This meteoric rise was not without controversy. The Winklevoss twins and Narendra sued Zuckerberg, claiming he stole their idea. This legal battle would drag on for years, eventually resulting in a $65 million settlement in 2008, a fraction of what the company would soon be worth. In June 2004, Zuckerberg moved operations to Palo Alto, California, dropping the from the company name to become simply Facebook. This move brought the fledgling company into the orbit of Silicon Valley's power players and their money. Sean Parker, co-founder of Napster, became Facebook's first president, introducing Zuckerberg to venture capitalist Peter Thiel. In May 2005, Thiel's Founders Fund led a $12.7 million investment in Facebook, valuing the company at $98 million. But this influx of capital came with a dark side: the dilution of Eduardo Savarine's ownership stake from 34% to just 0.03%, effectively pushing out one of the original founders. Savarine sued, and while the details of the settlement remain confidential, the betrayal set a pattern for how Zuckerberg would operate: ruthless expansion at any cost. As Facebook grew, so did Zuckerberg's control. He established a dual-class share structure that gave him disproportionate voting rights, ensuring he could never be outvoted or removed. By 2006, Facebook opened registration to anyone over 13 with a valid email address. The user base exploded to 12 million by December of that year. What began as an exclusive network for college students had transformed into a mass-market platform and a surveillance machine of unprecedented scale. Meta's dominance of social media wasn't achieved through innovation alone, but through a calculated strategy of eliminating potential competitors through acquisition. Two purchases stand out as particularly significant: Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014. In April 2012, Facebook acquired Instagram for $1 billion when the photo-sharing app had just 13 employees and 30 million users. The price, equivalent to $77 per user, shocked the industry. But internal emails revealed during the April 2025 FTC antitrust trial exposed Zuckerberg's true motivation. In one message to his chief financial officer, he wrote, "Instagram can meaningfully hurt us without becoming a huge business. We should always keep an eye on companies that can build networks and acquire them." Another email was even more explicit. "It's better to buy than compete." This wasn't just business strategy, it was market manipulation, designed to eliminate competition before it could threaten Facebook's dominance. 2 years later, in February 2014, Facebook made an even more aggressive move, acquiring messaging platform WhatsApp for a staggering $19 billion, the largest acquisition of a venture-backed company in history. At the time, WhatsApp had 450 million users, but generated minimal revenue. The price, equivalent to $42 per user, again raised eyebrows. The Wall Street Journal reported in March 2025 that internal documents showed Facebook executives were concerned that WhatsApp's growing popularity could eventually evolve into a competing social network. One executive wrote, "If they add profiles and news feed, they're Facebook." These acquisitions transformed the competitive landscape. By 2025, Instagram had grown to over 2 billion monthly users, while WhatsApp had reached 3 billion. Together with Facebook's core platform, Meta controlled the social media experience of nearly half the global population. While users flocked to Facebook to connect with friends and share photos, few understood the true product being built: the most sophisticated data collection system in human history. Every like, comment, and click became a data point in Facebook's growing profile of each user. In 2007, Facebook launched its advertising platform, allowing companies to target users based on their personal information. The following year, it introduced Facebook Connect, extending its data collection beyond the platform itself to third-party websites. By 2012, Facebook had amassed enough user data and market dominance to go public. Its May 18th IPO raised $16 billion, valuing the company at $104 billion, the largest valuation of any newly public company in history at that time. Yet even this milestone was marred by controversy, with the stock dropping 50% in the months following, amid allegations that key investors had been warned about the company's declining revenue projections, while the public was kept in the dark. As revealed in a 2025 Washington Post investigation, internal documents from this period show Facebook executives were already aware of the platform's addictive properties. One executive wrote in an email, "The more time they spend, the more data we collect, the more valuable our ad targeting becomes. It's a virtuous cycle for us, even if it's not for them." While Meta publicly champions user privacy, its business model has been built on the systematic exploitation of personal data. The company's history is marked by a series of devastating privacy violations that have affected billions of users worldwide. The 2018 Cambridge Analytica scandal exposed Meta's cavalier approach to user data. The personal information of up to 87 million Facebook users was harvested without consent through a seemingly innocent personality quiz app. This data was then used to build psychological profiles for political targeting during the 2016 US presidential election. Internal documents revealed by The Guardian in March 2025 showed that Facebook executives were aware of the data harvesting as early as 2015, but chose not to inform users. The fallout was severe. In July 2019, the Federal Trade Commission imposed a record $5 billion penalty on Facebook for deceiving users about their ability to control the privacy of their personal information. This wasn't just a one-time mistake. It was a violation of a 2012 FTC order that had already required Facebook to improve its privacy practices. The pattern continued. In December 2024, Ireland's Data Protection Commission fined Meta €251 million, $263 million for data security failures that led to a massive breach affecting over 500 million users. Phone numbers, email addresses, and other sensitive information were exposed and later found for sale on criminal forums. Perhaps most disturbing was the revelation in a January 2025 Washington Post investigation that Meta had been secretly tracking users' precise locations even when they had explicitly denied location permissions. The company accomplished this through a technique called IP-based geolocation triangulation, combining Wi-Fi access points, Bluetooth signals, and other device data to pinpoint users' whereabouts. A former Meta privacy engineer told the Post, "The company's internal motto was, 'Consent is a barrier to growth.' We were instructed to find technical workarounds to privacy choices whenever possible." As Facebook grew to billions of users, it became the primary news source for many, despite having none of the editorial standards of traditional media. This created the perfect environment for misinformation to flourish. During the 2016 US presidential election, Russian operatives exploited Facebook's platform to spread divisive content, reaching an estimated 126 million Americans. Internal documents revealed by whistleblower Frances Haugen in 2021 showed that Facebook's own research had found its algorithms promoted divisive content because it drove engagement. A Wall Street Journal investigation in February 2025 uncovered that Facebook had developed an algorithm called SPICE that deliberately amplified emotional and controversial content. One internal presentation stated, "Outrage drives engagement. Engagement drives revenue." Even more disturbing, Facebook's own researchers had found that the platform was being used to incite violence in countries like Myanmar, where it contributed to the persecution of the Rohingya minority. Despite knowing this, the company failed to allocate sufficient resources to address the problem in non-English-speaking markets. As one former Facebook employee told The Washington Post in January 2025, the company always chose growth and engagement over safety. Always. On October 28, 2021, facing mounting scandals and regulatory pressure,
I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
Zuckerberg announced that Facebook would change its name to Meta, signaling a pivot toward building the Metaverse, a virtual reality space where users could interact in a computer-generated environment. This wasn't just a new direction, it was an escape. As one Meta executive anonymously told Reuters in April 2025, the rebrand was as much about distancing ourselves from Facebook's toxic reputation as it was about embracing a new future. The timing was telling. Just weeks earlier, whistleblower Frances Haugen had released thousands of internal documents showing the company knew its products were harmful but chose profit over safety. The rebrand diverted media attention from these Facebook papers to Zuckerberg's futuristic vision. But the Metaverse pivot has proven costly. By March 2025, Meta had invested over $68.8 billion in its Reality Labs division, with little to show for it. Meanwhile, user growth on its core platforms stagnated, and advertisers began shifting budgets to competitors like TikTok. The Wall Street Journal reported in February 2025 that internal projections showed Meta's Metaverse would not be profitable until at least 2030, if ever. One senior engineer who left the company told the Journal, "We're building a virtual world no one asked for to escape the real-world problems we created." In April 2025, Meta's empire faced its greatest threat when the Federal Trade Commission brought the company to trial, seeking to force it to divest Instagram and WhatsApp. The FTC's complaint alleged that Meta had maintained its monopoly position by buying up companies that presented competitive threats. During the trial, Zuckerberg was forced to admit under oath that he viewed Instagram as a significant competitive threat at the time of acquisition. When presented with his own emails stating, "It's better to buy than compete," Zuckerberg struggled to explain the context, claiming it was merely business development strategy. A former Meta executive testified that the company maintained a watch list of potential competitors and categorized them as either acquisition targets or companies to be copied and crushed. This buy or bury strategy ensured that no rival could challenge Meta's dominance. The New York Times reported that internal documents revealed Meta had a dedicated team called Competitive Operations that would identify emerging competitors and develop strategies to neutralize them. For smaller companies that couldn't be acquired, Meta would systematically copy their features, as they did with Snapchat's Stories feature, which was cloned across Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. The trial exposed the extent of Meta's market power. With Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp combined, the company controlled the social media experience of nearly half the global population. This unprecedented concentration of power in the hands of a single company and effectively a single man, given Zuckerberg's controlling stake, raised fundamental questions about the future of digital communication. As of April 2025, Meta stands at a crossroads. The company that began in a Harvard dorm room now faces existential threats on multiple fronts: regulatory pressure, user distrust, competition from new platforms, and the massive financial drain of its metaverse gamble. The outcome of the FTC's antitrust case could force Meta to divest Instagram and WhatsApp, shattering the empire Zuckerberg has built. European regulators continue to impose increasingly severe penalties for privacy violations, with the European Data Protection Board signaling in March 2025 that future violations could result in a complete ban of Meta's services in the EU. User growth has plateaued, with internal documents leaked to The Guardian in February 2025 showing that younger users are abandoning Facebook and Instagram at an alarming rate. One internal report warned, "We are rapidly becoming the social network for the elderly." Meanwhile, Meta's stock has fallen 45% from its 2021 peak, wiping out hundreds of billions in market value. Wall Street analysts have grown increasingly skeptical of the Metaverse strategy, with Goldman Sachs downgrading Meta's stock in March 2025, citing unrealistic growth projections and concerning governance issues. Perhaps most troubling for Meta is the erosion of employee morale. A Washington Post investigation in April 2025 found that employee departures had reached record levels, with many citing ethical concerns as their reason for leaving. One former executive told the Post, "The company has lost its way. It's no longer about connecting people. It's about controlling them." The question now is whether Meta can reinvent itself once again, or whether the dark empire Zuckerberg built will finally crumble under the weight of its own contradictions. This documentary was based on reporting from the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the Guardian, Reuters, CNBC, and court documents from the FTC vs. Meta antitrust trial of 2025.